All right, we're gonna do another video, and this is gonna focus on redundancy, which makes me sound so smart. No, I'm kidding. Which redundancy is just having a second option in case the first one fails, basically. It's having a second one. So basically it's like having a second AC at your house, okay? First one, it breaks. What do you do? Well, I got a second one. We're good to go. On an engine, at hospitals, or on fire pumps, actually. This is a really good comparison, even though you guys have probably never seen a fire pump and motor. It's basically an engine that spins the pump to power, to shoot water throughout the sprinkler system. Every building has to have one. It's just hidden away in the electrical fire pump room. But let me tell you this, on those fire pumps, on a car engine, you have one starter, right? You have one battery, right? Every single fire pump has redundancy. It has two batteries. It has two starters. Meaning, when you got a fire and it's not turning on because the starter's bad or a battery's dead, you have a second one to kick on in place. So it's important. Now, I don't know how important that is to you guys. I'm assuming maybe the more established food truck owners that are making money and really killing it and have put in the time and have built everything up and they've got it down to a science, they might be more interested in redundancy. And I'm not telling you to buy a second generator. What I'm going to tell you about is inverters. And I'm not talking about an inverter generator. I'm talking about just the regular inverters. I have one in my truck. I have one actually right back there. And so let me explain. So it's not an inverter generator because there's no engine directly hooked up to that. So I'll provide a link. It basically, what it does and what you would do is, and you can get different wattage outputs. I have like a 3,000 or 4,000 wattage inverter. So you find the size, and they don't go past like 6, maybe 7 kW. Probably not even that. I think like the biggest one I've seen, and I haven't really looked too much into like the sizing, is a 5,000 watt inverter. So what it does, and they're used a lot for like solar charging systems and people that are off the grid that have a battery system, basically. So let me explain. You go for your food truck, you're going to look into an inverter. You got the money and you don't want to lose money if your generator breaks. So what are you going to do? You get the largest inverter. Say you're going to buy a 5,000 watt inverter. And so then you're going to say, well, there's no point because I use a 12,000 watt generator. I need the 12,000 to power everything, blah, blah, blah. So what's the point? Well, what the point is in case of an emergency, instead of having nothing working, you can calculate and figure out, okay, if my generator breaks and I have a 5,000 watt inverter, what are the bare items I need to still be able to take care of my customers? So if that sounds interesting to you, this is what the inverter is, how you would hook it up. So you have your food truck that you drive, right? And then the back is where you make the food. So you have your engine for your food truck. You've got your battery, correct? You would wire, and this is how mine's hooked up, and this is how all inverters are hooked up. It has a positive post and a negative post, and you would have the wires hooked up to your battery on your van engine. And so you have to have your generator, your van running to power the inverter. So in an emergency, fine, whatever, I'll have the van running if I can continuously still make money, right? So you basically buy a 5,000 watt inverter, and you're going to run your wires. You're going to have the right battery wires from the inverter to the battery that is in, under the hood. And so basically the inverter has multiple plugs on there that you can plug into to feed whatever appliances. You can plug a multi-outlet plug in there so that you can plug a couple of things in there and blah blah blah. It has some USB ports. You can even find ones that have remotes so that you can run the inverter on and off, without having to go find the inverter, because a lot of people, and me personally, we hide the inverter so that it doesn't take up space either under our driving seat, passenger seat, under the back seat, and then we run a little wire, the remote, up here, and if we need it, we just flick the switch and it kicks it on. So, back to what I was saying. So, if you get a 5,000 watt inverter, even a 4,000 watt, it all depends on what you're gonna power with it. You're gonna 90% of the time need a second battery, because your inverter is using 12 volts from the battery and converting it to AC volts, 120. And that's another thing. It's not 240 volts. It's only 120. Now, I got to look into that. There might be an inverter that works for 240. I'll look into that. But anyways, I'm pretty sure there would be. I couldn't see why not. So yes, you're going to need a second battery for powering things continuously, unless it's like lights and a blender here and there. That's fine. But if you've got to run some decently sized loads, it's going to drain the battery. So, all right, you're running, and it's simple to hook up a secondary battery. You don't need to charge it or anything, because you're going to have it hooked up in series with this battery, which is being charged by your alternator while you're driving. So it's going to continuously keep the second battery charged also. And that also keeps, if your front battery, your first battery dies on you, your second one in series will actually keep your van running in a way. So I will touch base more on that and give you some examples and show you some videos of my inverter. But that is one way to be prepared for the worst. You can set up like I said, the minimum things you could need. You could even have a backup menu where if your generator takes a crap, if it breaks down, you can switch to a lesser in-depth menu and still make money. Like, okay, generator's broke, we're going on inverter, we can't do this, but we can do this, this, and this. This is our menu. Let's swap menus, guys. You tell your employees, swap the menus. We're on inverter power. Let's at least make some money instead of no money. So just keep that in mind. And if anyone is interested, let me know, and I'll look into it more and give you guys all the information you guys need to make it so that you can do it yourself. It's not hard at all. The hardest thing would be routing your battery wires so that they're hidden, if you care about that. Like in my truck, you gotta take some paneling off to run the batteries from the back up through here, up past the like the fire proof rubber seal. So that's all that was the hardest, and that's not hard. It's just a little time consuming. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later.